NCAA basketball totals for Saturday, January 7th. Once again, here we are with our segment where we cover the totals set by odds makers. We try to beat that line either over or under. Pretty decent record in college hoops right now, so be sure to check the comments on the YouTube channel in this segment right here, so you can see exactly where we are at with the record. I'll be sure to update it after today's games that are going on right now while I go ahead and make this video getting ready for tomorrow's games. Huge slate of games in NCAA hoops. We're just going to look at 3 games in particular, as well as always we have our NBA segment, but something different. We are doing that live now. So although we have it on our YouTube channel for Sportsbook review, we're also doing that live on our Facebook page. So be sure to check that out. And that one's been really fun to do as I get up early here, my time, to go ahead and break down some games, which is usually about 2 or 3 hours before the first tip of the NBA schedule. So be sure to check that out. As always, sbrpicks.com, Sportsbook review, YouTube channel, Facebook page, Sportsbook reviews, Sportsbook sign-up bonuses, all that good stuff at SBR. And, we got a ton of free stuff there as well, so be sure to check us out. Here we go. Let's break down some college basketball games. Pull up some stats here. Here we go. First one up we got is Virginia Tech and Florida State, and I'm going over the total here set by oddsmakers at 155.5. This is actually a numbers play for me. This is the biggest total they've ever had between these two teams since they've matched up since 2003. Now, of course, Virginia Tech, I don't believe they've been in the ACC that long. I don't think so, but they have totals set for them. Actually, sorry, since 2005 is the last total I have, but they've never had a total this high. Of course, we have different dynamics. Now, Florida State's going really fast this year. Buzz Williams over at Virginia Tech doing a nice job after he came over from Marquette. But we look at their last totals last year, 146.5, and that was in the ACC tournament in which Virginia Tech actually won. That was a 96-85 final with no overtime in that one either. So I'm looking for something more like that because these two teams are really getting up and down. But I'm sorry, I have to. I stand corrected. Actually, the game before that last one, they had 146.5. And before that, they went to oddsmakers had at 151. It's still not as high though. So I was correct about the overall totals they've had, throughout their matchups over the last 10 years. And that was at 83-73. So they played two pretty high finals these last couple games. I think they do it again today. And I think there's a reason why oddsmakers have it at 155.5 because of that. I mean, but we look at these two teams, they could score. They get up and down. Defenses are okay, not great though. We got Virginia Tech averaging 83.7 points per game. They really want to get up and down the floor. Florida State, this has been really surprising for me to see them get up and down as much as they have been. 86.2 points per game. They rank 10th in the country in scoring. On the other side of the ball, both teams are allowing about 70 points per game. Shooting percentages are there. You got Virginia Tech shooting 49% from the floor. Big win against Duke just last week. And Florida State, they're shooting over 50%. They rank 5th in the country in shooting percentage. So, and you got Virginia Tech ranking 19th. They both can shoot the three. They're efficient. I mean, I just look for this to get up and down for us to get over that 155.5. It's a big total, but I think they get there. So I'm going to go ahead and back over that total. Next one up, we got a St. John's and Xavier. I was a little bit surprised. I thought St. John's was going to play a little bit better against Creighton. I thought they'd keep that a little bit tighter, but they're still not there yet. Chris Mullen, he should be able to recruit just because of who he is, and they're not there defensively. However, this number right here threw me off a little bit. 149.5. I'm going under. Going under this total because this is like a reverse play for me. Let's talk about these guys. So last couple times they've matched up. We had a 74-66 final. Last time they matched up was Xavier won at home last year, 90-83. That's a really fast tempo game. But St. John's was a little bit different last year. They could play a little bit of defense this year. That last over and under, was 150 points. And of course they went over at 173. I don't think they do that today. And that's mostly because this game here is at Xavier, and Xavier can flat out play some defense. I don't think St. John's is going to be able to score as efficiently as they have been this year. And I'll tell you what I'm talking about. St. John's right now is averaging 78.2 points per game. Xavier is averaging 76.6 points per game. So 149.5 seems doable. Xavier, however, though, is allowing 65.4 points per game. And percentage-wise, they're solid across the board. Opponents are shooting just about 42% against them, 33% from distance. I mean, this is a really good defensive team in Xavier. So that 149.5 is a little bit too much. St. John's, surprisingly, not horrific defensively like they were last year. They were bad, but right now opponents are shooting 42.5% against them. That ranks in the top part of NCAA basketball. And opponents just 46% on their 2-point shot. So they haven't been defending from beyond the arc very well, but from the interior extended, just fine. Chris Mullin, I think they're going to be okay if he surrounds himself with good assistants and they keep recruiting because of him. St. John's could come up in that Big East within the next few years. But I like this game to stay a little bit more controlled tempo. They're both pretty fast. Xavier goes a little bit slower tempo than St. John's wants to. But another really key point for me is Xavier allows just 55 attempts per game. And that's not that many in NCAA college basketball. So I look for them to control the tempo, take care of business against a pretty scrappy St. John's team, and for this to stay under that 149.5. All right, last one up. St. Mary's in San Francisco. Got the late game here, and I'm going under the 136.5. Something I got to tell you guys, though, real quick. I thought this was fascinating. First of all, I'm really impressed with Randy Bennett. He's not going to be at St. Mary's probably within the next 3 years. He'll be at a really big school, mark my words. But since 2003, San Francisco has beaten St. Mary's 3 times. Since 2003. In the last 13 years, they've beaten St. Mary's just 3 times. That is unbelievable. Out of 20, 25 matchups, that's incredible. And they're not going to win tonight either. St. Mary's is loaded. That's a really good Gales team. I like how they played against BYU the other night. Now they're traveling to San Francisco in this matchup, but I don't think it's going to matter because it's a really short trip from Moraga to University of San Francisco. It's like just like an hour. It's just across the bridge. So I think this is going to stay under though. Now the last time they matched up, so this is 136.5. But last time they matched up, oddsmakers had it at 144 and they went over. 84-72. St. Mary's won, of course. And what's important for us is how many times has St. Mary's covered. Well, if you dig into the stats, St. Mary's has covered actually, even when they've been favored, a lot more than San Francisco has. There's a couple games there over the last 10 where San Francisco had a good stretch where they got 3 covers in a row. But St. Mary's has absolutely owned them. Sorry, let's get to that total. So 136.5. San Francisco had a really rough matchup against Gonzaga just the other night. So it's going to be a really good litmus test to see where St. Mary's stands as they take on San Francisco. But St. Mary's is so good defensively, and they're not going to get up and down like they did against BYU. St. Mary's is averaging 74.9 points per game, and they're still super efficient, just like they were last year, shooting 50% from the floor, ranked 6th in the country. But defensively is where it's at for them. They're allowing 58.6 points per game. That ranks 3rd in the country. And they're allowing opponents to shoot just under 42%, and opponents are shooting just 31.5% from distance. San Francisco is a pretty good scoring team. They're averaging 76.5 points per game, but they're allowing you 71.5. So they're doing a decent job defensively. San Francisco is actually a touch underrated. That's not a bad club. They started out the year really hot, but now they're in league play, and they're not as good as Gonzaga or St. Mary's or BYU. So they might struggle a little bit. But they're allowing 43% shooting. They rank in the top part of the country in opponent effective field goal percentage and opponent shooting efficiency, 46.9% on 2-point shots, opponent 2-point shots. So pretty good defense by San Francisco. I don't think it's going to get up and down. Both teams go pretty slow. You got St. Mary's averaging just 53.6 attempts per game. That's one of the slowest in NCAA basketball. San Francisco, 57 attempts per game, just over 57 attempts. So I don't think it's going to get up and down. And St. Mary's, they could just really impose their will on you. They're kind of like the Virginia of the West Coast, but not as good. But that style of just kind of grind you out sort of basketball, although they're really efficient as well and they could score. But I like to stay under that 136.5 at the end of the day. All right, let's go ahead and let's break this down one more time. Great slate of games today. These are our 3. We got Virginia Tech, Florida State over the 155.5, what I think is going to be a track meet. St. John's, Xavier under the 149.5. That's tempting to go over, but I don't think they're going to get there because Xavier is going to control St. John's. St. Mary's, San Francisco under the 136.5, and I think this actually gets to under 130. This is going to be more of a defensive battle than most people probably anticipate. Make sure to see where those lines go. Always check out SBR to see that as well. And I wish you luck on your picks today.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.